In the beginning, there was Eru Iluvatar, an all-powerful god who embarked upon a campaign of creation, forming an area of empty space called the Timeless Void. Within this void, he made the Timeless Halls, serving as a celestial home for the Ainur, the first beings to which he gave life. The Ainur were primordial spirits of independent thought with varying levels of power, each of whom inherited knowledge from a specific portion of the Creator's mind. All save for Melkor, greatest of the Ainur, who shared in the gifts of nearly all the others, making him insatiably curious, yearning to break free from the restrictions imposed by Eru in order to become a creator in his own right, even journeying through the void to search for the flame imperishable, as he knew this was the key to making life forms with spirits of independent thought. Yet this was impossible, as the flame was not something to be found and used, but rather a powerful life force that came directly from Eru Iluvatar. Throughout his search for the flame, Melkor spent so much time alone, his thoughts started to grow apart from the others, becoming more independent, self-interested, and ambitious. This in turn led to feelings of frustration because he could not find the flame, and impatience towards Eru because he left the void empty rather than filling it with new creations, which was his own greatest desire. Melkor's new attitude then resulted in rebellion and the first war in all of history, not fought with weapons but rather voices, as the clash erupted during the Ainulindale, a theme of great music introduced by Eru and sung in blissful harmony by the Ainur. Yet Melkor sought to make the music his own and so disrupted the harmony with aggressive, loud, repetitive notes, engaging in a war of sound until Eru ended the music and showed them a visual representation of what they created. This vision of Arda depicted scenes of a world unlike anything they imagined, with new creatures and wondrous locations featuring moments of great joy and triumph. Yet the vision also showed images of terrible cruelty and suffering, wickedness infused by the music of Melkor. Fascinated, the Ainur asked for the vision to be made real, and so Eru agreed, on the condition those who entered this universe could not leave until its natural conclusion. Faced with an important decision, some of the Ainur remained in the Timeless Halls, while others descended into the universe Ea and onto the building blocks of a world they called Arda. Understanding it was their task to bring about what they saw in the vision, the 14 most powerful Ainur became shapers and overseers of Arda, primarily seeking to prepare a home for the children of Eru, creatures of independent thought who would one day populate the world. Though other intelligent beings lived upon Arda, the children of Eru were specially formed, with unique gifts and destinies. United in their cause, the 14 most powerful Ainur, called the Valar, were aided in their mission by many of the other spirits who came into the world, the more numerous but less powerful Ainur called Maiar. Then there was Melkor, the most powerful of them all, who was not considered one of the Valar, because upon entering Arda, he sought to make himself king. Refusing to accept his self-appointment, the Valar instead followed Melkor's brother, Manwe, as king of the Valar, a good-natured being of great power who was dearest to the Creator and best understood his will. Though the Ainur were all spirits born from Eru Iluvatar, specific traits like gender and familial relations differed between them. In this case, Melkor and Manwe were brothers because Eru the Creator considered them brothers from their inception. Similarly, many of the Ainur assumed a physical form upon entering the world, taking the shapes of males or females, depending on what they felt best represented their individual identity. Yet taking a body was not actually necessary, as the Valar and Maiar had access to both the world of the seen, containing physical reality, and the world of the unseen, the realm of spirits accessible to immortal beings. In their spirit form, the Valar and Maiar could not die, but their specific powers were not a limitless resource. The magic of the Ainur, though great, was finite, meaning it could not be replenished after use. Every time they used their powers, their overall strength lessened, and should they use up this energy entirely, they would revert to wandering spirits, so weak they could not interact with the world. Therefore, while Melkor was the most gifted among them, he could not stand against all the Valar who united in their opposition to his rule. Realizing kingship was no longer possible, he grew bitter and angry, seeking instead to destroy all of creation. Fighting a series of devastating wars, the Dark Lord Melkor caused so much damage, the Lens of Arda changed form a number of times. Though most of the Maiar served the Valar and fought at their side, some joined the Dark Lord, while others still remained neutral, preferring to explore the world in their own fashion and pursue their own goals. A powerful figure who was gathering followers even in the Timeless Halls. Some Maiar were drawn to Melkor and served him faithfully, possibly because they were corrupted or had their own dark ambitions, while others still may have been loyal because they were part of his rebellion during the War of Sound. Often used as messengers and agents of the Valar or Melkor, some of the Maiar were well known in later ages, gaining great reputations for their powers and deeds. Some of these famous Maiar who served the Valar included Gandalf the Grey, Saruman the White, and the other wizards of their order, while among those who served Melkor was his chief lieutenant Sauron, as well as the great fire spirits called Balrogs under Gothmog, a lieutenant more dedicated to combat. During a time of respite between the wars of Melkor, the Valar brought light into the world through 2 great lamps, but they too were destroyed by the Dark Lord in another conflict which caused the lands and seas of Arda to change form, originally creating a great symmetrical landmass surrounded by sea upon a flat world. The damage inflicted by Melkor eventually left 3 great continents and several oceans. Choosing the western continent of Aman as their homeland, the Valar and Maiar founded the realm of Valinor as an enchanted paradise. These undying lands flowed with magic and served as a home to the immortal races, but it was not the land itself that was special, but rather the land was made special by the presence of the Valar and Maiar. Requiring a new light source, the Valar created the 2 trees, Laurelin and Telperion, beginning the years of the trees, while Melkor claimed the central continent of Middle-earth, ruling from a mighty northern fortress. The eastern land of the sun was uninhabited. Learning of the Dark Lord's presence in Middle-earth, the Valar grew concerned for the elves, the first of the children of Eru, who awoke in Cuiviénen. Though the light of the trees could not reach so far east, they were spared total darkness by the stars in the sky created by Varda. The queen of the Valar went to Manwë. Seeking to dominate all of Middle-earth, Melkor started capturing wayward elves to torture and twist into the orc race, monstrous creatures ready to obey the Dark Lord's every command. Unable to create his own life forms, as he could not grant the flame imperishable, he found another way by using his dark powers to corrupt creatures which already existed, including intelligent species like the elves, turning them into a horrifying mockery of their former selves. Wanting to protect the elder children of Eru, the Valar and Maiar invaded Middle-earth and defeated Melkor in the war for sake of the elves, capturing him with a special chain before returning west. Yet after fighting another devastating war which changed the world, the Valar were so eager to be done with the conflict, they failed to eliminate the remaining servants of the Dark Lord who escaped the fighting or remained hidden in the lower levels of his fortresses. With Melkor gone, the Valar invited the tall, elegant, beautiful elves, distinguished by their pointed ears, to live with them in Valinor, as Eru meant for this world to be their eternal home, and for that reason granted them the gift of immortality, meaning they could withstand the magical energy flowing through the Undying Lands. The elves, like the Valar and Maiar, could see the world of the unseen, and had spirits that could not die, though their physical bodies could be destroyed. Though many were eager to journey west, not all were willing to go, and so the elves were sundered, with those who accepted the great journey west becoming the Eldar, while those who remained behind were called the Avari. The Eldar elves were then split into 3 more factions, with the Vanyar and Noldor making it to Valinor without issue, while some of the Teleri abandoned the journey for varying reasons, settling the lands they passed. While some of these Teleri chose the lands east of the Misty Mountains, others established realms in the northwestern region of Beleriand, like their leader Elwë, who married Melian, a great Maia from Valinor with an independent spirit who enjoyed journeying through Middle-earth on her own, allowing them to meet, fall in love, and found the realm of Doriath, where they ruled as king and queen. Elwë then became known as High King Eleuthingol, holding authority over all the Sindar of Beleriand. Sindar was the name given to those Teleri who left the great journey to settle this region, and included the havens of the Falas, a western realm established along the coast, ruled by Lord Círdan, a wise old elf who was specially instructed by the Valar to remain in Middle-earth, so he might build ships to transport future elves who might eventually wish to travel west to Valinor. As for those who completed the great journey, the Teleri became great shipbuilders, while the Vanyar dedicated themselves to serving the Valar, and the Noldor became great craftsmen and smiths, all the while Melkor seethed in captivity, aiding the elves and plotting his revenge. Imprisoned for 3 ages, Melkor at last enacted his plan, feigning repentance to seek pardon from his good-natured brother Manwë, king of the Valar, who released him over the objections of others. At first, Melkor was helpful and kind, but everyone learned the truth when he launched a devastating attack that destroyed the 2 Trees of Light, plunging the continent into darkness. He then moved north to the fortress of Formenos, where Melkor killed Finwë, ruler of the Noldor Elves, stole the 3 precious Silmaril jewels of the High King's eldest son Feanor, and fled east to Middle-earth. In order to accomplish so much, Melkor allied with the Ungoliant, a mysterious, primordial being of unknown origin whose greatest desire was to feed her endless hunger from sources of power and light like the 2 Trees of Valinor. The Ungoliant was so powerful that once they reached Middle-earth, she fought and defeated Melkor to take possession of the Silmaril jewels, which were the greatest gems ever crafted, containing light from the 2 Trees. Yet Melkor was saved, and he remained in possession of the Silmarils, thanks to his loyal Balrogs who were awaiting his return in a nearby fortress, and heard his cries of pain. The Ungoliant then fled south, where she became mother to the race of great spiders, like the famous Shelob, which Sauron considered his cat, and who played an important role in the War of the Ring at the end of the Third Age. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Sir Gil of Tarth, James the Cheap, Tim, Kristen Greeneyes of the Company of the Cat, and John Amber of Whitefork. If you'd like to help contribute to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.